Good evening.
Good evening.
I call to order the special meeting of the Mayor and City Council of Columbus, Mississippi for Thursday, June the 22nd, 2023. Before we get started, I'm going to ask Assistant Chief Johnson to please open us in prayer.
Most gracious God, we thank you for this day. We thank you most of all this opportunity to serve. Father God, we continue to lift up this mayor and the city council as we go forth with these proceedings, that everything that's done is pleasing in that sight and for the best benefit of the citizens here in Columbus, Mississippi. We thank you. We love you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Assistant Chief Johnson. Council, during the meeting today, we've got 3 topics we're going to discuss. The Gilmer Inn property, which I think Mr. Kinney and Mr. Ferguson are here to discuss this. Secondly, we're going to discuss the trash collection. And then after that, we will go into an executive session to discuss 2 personnel matters. So we'll begin with Mr. Kinney, and Mr. Ferguson's here as well.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. You should have in front of you 2 documents. The first document is the actual contract for the sale of the Gilmer property. As you can see on page 3, which I've highlighted for you near the top, there was a stipulation as to what type or what style rather of building would be built on the property. It's mentioned and shown as Exhibit A. You'll find Exhibit A on the last page of that document, which is page 9.
Is the original?
Yes, sir. The second document is a proposal for a new financial concept building. The building designs are shown on pages 6, 7, and 8. Highlighted those pages as well near the bottom. The reason I'm here before you, Council and Mayor, is because the proposal does not appear to resemble Exhibit A of the contract. Therefore, I'm asking for Council consideration and/or approval before referring this matter to the Columbus Historic Preservation Commission. I believe Mr. Ferguson is in attendance and may have some comments.
Are you saying you're asking the council to approve the change?
No, to consider it, basically. No, not necessarily, no.
Have they looked at this already, the commission?
They looked at the first proposal, which was a single story, and they rejected that proposal.
So this is the second one they're coming back.
They have not looked at it. After Jeff advised me that there was a contract for the sale with Exhibit A, we decided we'd approach you, council members, and you, Mayor, before taking this to the Historic Commission.
So is this something that we have to vote on today? You're not starting on it next week, right? I mean,
No,
give us
sir.
time to
Does,
think
does,
about it.
No, they're just bringing it to our attention today.
Well, he's asking us to consider and approve.
doesn't necessarily have to
Go
be,
into the, oh, it doesn't have to be approved?
not necessarily, no.
Okay.
And to give you an opportunity to talk to Mr. Ferguson about why the reason for the change in the original. Would you like to address that? I think that would be good. Sure. Could you come up to the podium so we can?
One question, Commissioner.
Yes, yes.
Before we leave.
Yes, sir.
You said the first approval, the first graph that I'm looking at, what was the decision from?
The first draft was a single story. Several commission members mentioned it resembled a camp house that was not facing Main Street. They rejected that proposal unanimously. This is the second proposal.
But now,
This was the original. This is what
this is exhibit, this was exhibit to the contract when the city sold it to Ferguson.
Correct.
And Ferguson took a plan for like a log cabin type structure to the Historic Commission. They rejected it. This has never been presented to the Historic Commission, but this is what the city contracted with Ferguson to build when we sold it to them.
Correct.
Well, we don't see what he presented. We don't see that second plan. that was
Yes,
given.
it's here.
Well, not that, this is the third plan that he's come up with now. This was.
But I mean, all plans that you, oh, they're not all here?
No, Exhibit A, this is what we contracted.
I got that, yeah.
The first proposal he made, the Historic Preservation Commission took it up before it was ever presented to you all. I learned of that after the fact, and I told Kenny, it seems to me, before the Historic Preservation Commission has taken up anything other than this, that they ought to bring it to the mayor and council, because this is what y'all agreed to when you sold the property to them.
Correct.
I thought the second one was in here, but it's not.
No, sir.
The second proposal is not in here.
This is second proposal right here.
This is
The first
the third.
meeting.
This is the
It
third.
was already, well, these are the two, right?
Correct.
But this is the third
The
one.
one that was not, the one that was rejected is not in here.
Correct.
So
It
this
is
would be-
not.
Yeah, that was the second. This is
The
the
third,
first one is the original one.
right.
So
And
this is- yeah.
And the reason I referred this to the Historic Commission originally is I wasn't aware of this contract. So,
So why the change, Mr. President?
Cost comes down to dollars. It only makes sense to do this style property versus what I'd originally hoped to do, costs are through the roof. I'm not willing to go into massive amounts of debt. I'm not like a city, I can't just issue bonds and debt and then find a way to pay for it later. I gotta find a way to pay for it up front. So it's cost driven, 100%.
So you're saying there's a whole lot different cost in that last number 3 than your number 1?
Absolutely.
Have you gotten any feedback on this one? Do you think this is more acceptable to the?
I think it meets what the Historic Commission laid out. If you took their words from the first meeting that we went to, they wouldn't have approved the original drawing because, number one, it didn't face Main Street. It had a road driving through the middle of the property. Those are things they did not like on the second set of drawings that we presented. So I'm not sure the Historic Commission would approve that.
And this would be facing Main?
It would be. It has rear parking like they want. It's on the curb. We listened to everything that they said in that meeting. We went back and we drew a new design to meet what they wanted.
And would this strictly be your business in here, or
It
are
would be.
there spaces that you would rent out as well?
There's additional property left over. I'm only using about a third of the property, so I've got other pieces that I can develop later, but it's just strictly from a cost standpoint.
So this would just be strictly your business and not offering to
Correct.
any other? Any other questions, council?
I'm still kind of confused on why proposal 1 is so much more expensive. Is it the parking lot or what exactly?
Building materials, 100%. I mean, the bids on that one were through the roof. You're looking at, for each of those buildings right there, they were coming back between 3 and 3.5 per building. This structure right here is around 1 to 1.2. That's a significant difference.
And you said this is just taking up a third of it, right? You still got
Correct.
2/3 left to
That's right.
develop or whatever you wanna, it's not the whole lot itself.
Absolutely.
And this would be closer over to the end of the lot near the varsity?
No, it's close to the house
The house.
Oh,
that the
oh.
CVB owns that is
Yeah.
in disrepair and falling apart. Mr. Turnage referenced the second drawing as a log cabin. I find that a little bit comical myself because I didn't resemble a log cabin in any way, shape, or form. But if you look at the other structures in that parcel of downtown, they don't meet what the Historic Commission wants. They don't have the party walls. They're not the side-by-side downtown buildings. There's a Tennessee Williams home across the street. There's the house that the CVB owns that is literally in disrepair, could fall at any moment, and then the vacant lot.
No offense, that's just the way I saw it.
Hey, everybody's entitled to opinion. They're a dime a dozen, right?
How we feel about the other lots, the 2/3 that we got left? You got potentials coming,
At this point in time,
elaborate on it?
I mean, absolutely, there certainly could be developable, it could be developed into other properties, it could be sold, it could be used for many different things. At this point in time, I'm focused on building a building for myself. This is my third set of plans. For me, 3 strikes and you're out, I'm gonna do something else. If you guys want that property to sit vacant and sit empty, it can sit there. I can hold it for the long term. If you want something built on it, I can build this.
Yeah, I believe you purchased it, the meeting before I took office.
2021,
Yeah.
correct. It seems to be a seller's remorse. You know, we're trying to go back here and claw and say we're gonna do this and that. And, they can sit there, we can build on it.
We definitely, appreciate the business and opportunity that you're gonna bring here, you know, but, I just leave it right there, I'll leave it right there.
Any other questions?
So where are we at? So if we said yes today, you take it to the historic commission?
Well, he's taking it regardless of what we say. He's just making us aware of it, correct? I mean, that's the proper procedure to go to them and then.
According to Mr. Kenny, it has to have approval from you guys before it can go back to the historical commission.
But we don't have to prove it today.
Yeah,
No.
no, sir. Well, actually. we-
Oh, so we need to approve it to
Contract.
or change the contract.
Yeah, we still don't have to do it today, since it's just coming from, no problem.
Yeah.
We still need to come back to it, right?
I think so too. I don't think we can make a decision today on this. Do you?
Regardless, we approve it today, it goes to the, what committee is that?
Historic commission.
Historic committee, but it still gotta come back to the council, right? It don't come back?
Yeah.
We could pull it back.
The approval of that does.
Well, it does.
We're
They
looking
would-
to change the contract that we had from the start.
I
That's
don't
what we-
think
That's what we're here for.
Historic Preservation Commission decisions don't come to the mayor and council for.
No, only if this person was
Only
to appeal
planning.
their decision, then it'd come back to council.
Or the council could pull it back in if we heard about it and wanted to discuss it. I mean, they don't have the right, they don't have the end answer the council does on any of this.
But in order for it to go now, you have to have the approval from the mayor and council before it go back to them.
That's
So
right,
that's why
because we have a contract obligation.
we're not under no time frame or nothing.
No, but Councilman Jones is saying that he thinks that we need more time to look at it before we even make a decision, correct?
Correct.
I agree. I'd like to look at it a little closer. How's everybody else feel? Good? Okay.
The table this.
Okay, thank
Sounds
you.
good. Thank you, guys.
Thank
Best of
you.
luck.
All right, now time for fun with the trash collection.
All right.
Ms. Garrett?
Good afternoon. So what you have is some, the information that you requested. You asked for more information. There was a request for if there was 2 days with or without bins, 1 day with or without bins, and 1 day with 2 bins. And so that's what,
anything though, you have copies?
it's in front of you.
That's right there.
Okay?
Right there.
All right, so these are the rates. If you have any questions, we have the trash collectors, staff from there here present. I would like to make, one change. I did try to give you the Starkville, West Point and Oxford, how many days that they do. And Starkville actually does 2 days. On here it says 1, but Starkville actually does 2 days. But I would also like to point out that Starkville and Oxford, they do their own residential trash. Also, one rate, that we received also has an addendum to it. And Mr. Jeff, he included a statute that lets you know that, there can be a negotiation after the bids have been, submitted. So having that addendum, is fair.
So I think the majority of people want 2 days. Still, from all the research that I've done, all the talking to people, Facebook posts and all that stuff, most of the responses were 2 days.
I'm gonna speak for most of mine, Ward 3 that I talked to, thought 1 was plenty. So to say the majority, I might not be fair, but I know a lot of people have reached out to you, but everybody does not think that 2 is necessary, that we can get by with 1, and if you had more trash than you had bins, then you just get another bin.
Well, I had someone reach out to me with the idea that, and they've seen this in other cities within Mississippi, and they said it's worked, is that if we were trying to go to 1 day to say keep costs down, then it would almost be cost effective for the city to have a second bin for residents to have. So they would have 2 bins at their house to keep trash in until that day comes around. instead of, there's a lot of concern about people still continuing to put bags on the street and stuff like that. So that's a thought we had not talked about, was what would it look like if we had an extra bin if we were gonna go to 1 day? People get 2 bins, one pickup a week, but have 2 bins. So that's another idea to throw out there. I'm like Councilman Green, I have heard both. Probably, most people that reached out to me were interested in 1 day because they're concerned about the price going too much up and they want cans. And how it would affect, people in lower income areas to have to take on that extra fee for the 2 day. So there seems to be a debate on whether people want the cans or 2 days, and so that's why the idea of 2 cans in 1 day was something that was brought to me recently for y'all's consideration.
Well, surely there's a compromise on that. Instead of just giving out 2 cans to everybody, you give out the 2 cans to those who request it and feel they need it. I'm not going, rarely would I ever need 2 cans. So I'm not going to need 2 cans to keep up with in my yard. But it would be there if somebody needed it.
What would be the price?
If you look, you have, the price on the, end. If it's one time, if you did 1 time a week with 2 bins, it's there. And also if you look at the individual, what each individual company sent, they also let you know what the, second cost of the bin. So if you did 2 days, they're letting you know what the second cost of the bin is.
Can I say something?
Yes,
From a
sir.
legal standpoint? From a legal standpoint, we did an RFP, and it seems to me the next step, according to the public purchase law, is that the mayor and council decide on the most qualified proposal on the basis of price, technology, and other factors, and then negotiate with the company that you found to be the most qualified. Or, if you prefer to deal with Golden Triangle Waste, there's a separate statute that specifically speaks to the right of a municipality to contract with a cooperative service district. So you would not have to pick the most qualified, although I don't think there's any question that everybody here is pretty qualified. But those are, from my viewpoint, the 2 ways you can go. And you could go with option 1 and pick Golden Triangle Waste, or if you like them, you could go with them without having to decide they're being the most qualified.
And it's same with the others. No, but not Golden Triangle. We can go with them without doing the other
Yeah,
process.
but if you want anybody other than Golden Triangle, it's my suggestion that the minutes show that you decided that one of the others was the most qualified proposal on the basis of price, technology, and other factors. And then you negotiate the contract after you pick it.
I know even the apartments behind my house, if 1 day, they have a dumpster. So what are you gonna do, give them 2 dumpsters? It overflows every time they skip a day.
And there's no room for 2 there.
Right, exactly. So, I think 2 days, for me, I can't speak for anybody else, but 2 days for me
Mandatory.
would be my suggestion. And like I said, I've talked to a lot of people, and I looked at a lot of Facebook posts, and a lot of them have.
Are you saying 2 days with no cans?
No, 2 days with the can.
And and again, how much is that gonna take it up from where we are now?
Well, I think we really should be looking at just trash. We added other fees in there, in the past, but we need to be looking at just trash so it doesn't go up its way. Just the trash pickup, and then how much light and water charges for us to collect for us.
And who can explain this? The light and water, that's another conversation for another day. Right there, but,
We also have, you should know, and y'all probably noticed, we have the representatives here from the different companies that we're dealing with. Would you like to hear from them on anything, or have y'all heard anything that we've said that y'all would like to speak to while we're discussing this?
Just, I'd like.
Please come to the next one.
When it comes down to needing 2 carts, and you haven't had carts before, a lot of municipalities find that one cart is sufficient. So when the 2-cart quote wouldn't be for everybody, what we do in previous or other locations is the city pays for 1 cart for everybody. The second cart, the individual contracts with us and we bill them for the second cart. So you pay once a week for 1 cart. They can buy a second one from us. Because it's not, you're not going to say all 9,600 or 9,800 are not going to need 2 carts. So, and if you look at the difference between Golden Triangle and us is $1.98 difference for the once a week with a cart. Over the life of the contract, that's over $2 million difference. It's $228,000 a year. $1.98 times 9,600 times 12 times 10. That's all it's.
Yes?
I mean, this situation is a little complicated for this main reason, and I know the council's trying to do their due diligence in this, and they're looking at a lot of different options, and a lot of different councilmen have different needs, I think, for their wards. We've talked about this, and we got a bid proposal that was asked of us a few minutes ago, or hour or so ago, about 1 per week with 2 bins. And I think we came in at $14.95, which was, it wasn't, nobody else was even close to us. It looks like. We were $14.95 for once a week with 2 bins. The next closest bid was $17.97. That was $3. I think really what has got to be decided is if you're going to go with bins or not. I know that's something that's being debated among the council, and I mentioned this the last time I spoke. Of the 4 different bids you requested, 3 of them we were the most economical. The one bid that was only difference between us and Arrow had to do with the pickup for once a week with 1 bin, and we discussed that last time. I think that's the only one that's in question. I think if you consider any of the other options, there's no question that we're the most economical. I don't have much to add besides that. You are talking about, for whoever gets the account, you're talking about, if you go to 2 bids, you're talking about 20,000 cans. That's a lot of cans that got to get put on the ground. So I think a decision has to be made. Even if you go with 1 bin, it's almost 10,000 cans that have to be put on the ground. So,
You could also debate too, how many times trucks are rolling on the roads.
No, I'm talking about to put them out.
Oh, I know, but
I'm talking about just to get them out to y'all. Like if whoever you give the contract to, those cans have to get put on the ground. They have to be ordered. And so I think ultimately the decision's got to just be made if you want to continue with the way you're doing it now, which is picking up the garbage as it's put out once a week or twice a week, which again, we're the lowest and most economic bid for what we put on the ground, the number of trucks, the people. We're the lowest bid on all of those options. If you go to 2 bins and one time per week, we're the most economic option. The only one that's even in question is 1 week with 1 bin. If you go 2 times a week with 1 bin, we're the most economic option. So I think we've covered everything we can cover on this. I think the point is made. I think Mr. Turns is correct that once you decide who you want to negotiate further with, you got to just work out some small aspects of the contract, and we would love to continue to do it. We've been doing it for over 20 years. Thanks.
Thank you.
Mr. Jim, I have a question. This rate right here is what we pay as a city. What can you tell us from the people from the consumer, how much their bill's gonna go up? Is there a final line on it? They're paying what, $17 a month now? Is that
They're
fair?
paying $17.50 a month.
And it'll go to what? If we
Under which
pick
scenario?
a number of, say, 2 times a week with a bin.
2 times a
The
week
lowest
with a
bid
bin,
is
the lowest
18.45.
one would go to, it would go from $17.50 to about $26.
So $9 more a month.
Now, what does that include?
That would be 2 times a month with a bin. Or 2
times
times a week with a
What
bin.
charges, what additional charges?
Pardon?
What additional charges? Is that just for light and water collection?
That's light and water collection plus disposal fees, we spend about $18,000 a month dumping fees. And all of the contracts, all of the proposals, it was understood that the city would continue to pay the dumping fees with Golden Triangle Disposal. So, you know,
Tipping fees at the landfill.
right, the landfill. So it's,
That's what Golden Triangle, so.
yeah.
It's a different outfit though. It's Golden Triangle. Regional landfill is different than
I
Golden
mean, if
Triangle
you,
Waste Services.
if you don't collect that from the citizens, then the city would absorb somewhere around $250,000 additional expense.
Jim, I have a question. I
Yes,
see
ma'am.
2 fees here. The price would go to like $26 a month, and that's what Light and Water is charging.
Yep.
Now, I see a 2% for Light and Water and a 5%. What price is figured in that, the 2% or the 5%?
2%.
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't even considered and I think that Dr. Burdell gave us a range. I don't know that she said a definite amount, but it was going to increase. She came and met with us and said that her costs have gone up and that there would be an increase. And I think that increase, if they're currently collecting 2%, that increase was going to be between 3 to 5%.
I thought she said
I think she
5.
was.
Yeah.
She said it was gonna go up 3% to 5.
It's fine.
So that
Yeah.
$26 is including that 5% that Light and Water would be charging?
No.
That
So she said, what
passes
would it
to
be
the
if it's
customer?
5%? What would it be if it's 5%?
Well, in this particular case, right now, we're paying about 105, well, let me get the calculator out. I'm not gonna guess.
I got one.
It's on Jamie's spreadsheet, 105,672.
We go 27
That's one.
times 9,600.
And it's my understanding that they've already voted on that. Their board has already voted on that 5% increase. Wasn't that correct?
That's the way I remember it.
Yeah.
And that's okay, but my
They
understanding,
voted on it,
I'm
yeah.
looking at Light and Water and I see 2 percentages here. So I'm trying to figure out what is passed on to the customer.
So our monthly bill right now, the monthly income, I gotta make sure that I did this right here. If we went to, I'm just gonna pick the lowest one for the 1845, which is Golden Triangle.
That's right.
If we go 1845, I'm just gonna use 9,600 because it ranges right around there. So our monthly bill with that increase would go from approximately 105,000 to 177,000. Okay, so it's going up about a little over $70,000. Then if you add in the additional light and water, on this would be another $8,000. So we would be at about 185,000. So it'd be about an $80,000 increase per month if we went 2 times per week with a bin, and that's that 1845 number. So the light and water fee for doing the billing for us is right between 8,500 and 9,000. And using 1845, now what we would have to bill on top of that 1845, just so you know, is that if our costs are 185,000, and we're going to be adding 7. So our costs, our bill would have to go up to about $260,000 a month. At 9,500, that's about $26 or $27 a month that a customer would have to pay. It'd be between 26 and 27. I'm not sure exact change. So that's an increase right now of about. Well, we're paying $17.50, going up $10.
Between
New software too. They've got new software costs.
So we can't say what the cost to the customer would be per month right now.
An
If we-
estimate.
Yeah,
if we-
it'd be about $27 a month,
Okay.
if we pick that particular one.
If you pick that one,
It'd be
yeah.
like $28 if you're going up.
But does that include 5%?
Well, you're at 1750 now. If we maintain that $7 spread, on 1845, that would be about $26.
Is that, but that's including going up to 5%?
That's not including going up to 5%. So there's addition, probably another 50 cents on that for light and water. So if you're going to 27, you're probably going to 27.50.
Just going from 2 to 5%?
Yeah.
Did y'all get that?
I mean, it's just, there's no way, if you're gonna maintain the 2 times per week, there's no way that there's not going to be a significant increase for our citizens.
Except if didn't you say at one time that if we had gone once a week, you said that increase from light and water would almost be absorbed, right? It wouldn't impact?
Yeah, so if you went, so the low bid on 1 time per week with a bin is $11.97. So that's $10.50 versus $11.97. So that's going up, what, $1, about $1.50. So that $1.50, when we look at the $7 spread between our cost and what we get from light and water, that may have to go up $1. So it may go from $17.50 to $18.50, but that would, that would not be a drastic, and they're getting a bin, so that would not be a drastic increase for our citizens. But that's 1 time a week. That's the low bid, 1 time a week with a bin. If you have to have 2 times a week, then again, it's going to move it up to, well, and I think that Jamie got some of that information here on 2 times a week. So the low bid there is $14.95, so that's going up about $5 versus our current cost. That $5, if we put so if you pick the $14.95, which is 1 time a week, 2 bins, then you're adding another, it would be 21, it'd be 22.50, about 22.50 versus the 17.50 that we're doing now.
One of the things to me to consider in all of this, a bin versus twice a week, once a week. When we had the problem with the trash being delayed and picked up, trash all over the city, but people didn't have a bin. Now, the question is, shall we go once a week or twice a week? But if you got a big bin, maybe we can go once a week, whereas before, you didn't have a bin.
I remind the council that what really brought all of this up was at one point in time when Golden Triangle was really suffering with equipment problems, people were only getting 1 time a week. It was spread out so much that they were only getting 1 time a week.
No, they were still pretty much right.
And I'm not sure.
At different times, they were only doing
Yeah,
that.
they were still, they were still picking up.
And,
I know downtown they were, I can't speak for everybody, but they were still picking up twice.
I don't have the magic answer for you, but
They were just late doing it, like they might skip a day and then they picked up the next day, but they were still picking up twice.
and I have to give them credit now. At least I'm a consumer, and I don't have a problem with them. They've been pretty steady since they've got their new equipment.
All right, any other questions or comments?
So right now, our options are to pick absolutely one of these, or we can say, we want to go back with GTR Waste Services and negotiate the best deal later.
You would pick, according to the state of Mississippi, which carves out a special exception for the contracts with trash disposal, you can pick the best provider that when you look at all of the proposal, the best provider from a technology, from a service perspective, and from a cost perspective. And then you can negotiate a final contract, meaning one bin or two bins or whatever you want to do with that particular provider, once you make that decision. I'm not sure that there's, all of these are reputable companies, so I'm not sure which way you want to.
But we could only do it that way with Golden Triangle.
No, you got two choices. One is to pick the best private company based on price, technology, and other factors, and then negotiate with them. Or the other option is to select Golden Triangle Waste, because there's a whole nother statute, 19.3.115, that allows you to bypass the whole public purchase statute and to negotiate with them and enter into a contract.
Mayor, we just took part in the bid process. We just took part in the bid process because the council requested it. We just thought it would be fair to everybody.
Right, yes.
We're not obligated to it as a cooperative.
Yes.
I'll make a motion that we stay with GTR Waste Service and then we negotiate the best deal that we can for whether it's gonna be 1 day or 2 days.
I'm having trouble hearing that motion. I'm sorry. Can you repeat?
I said, I make a motion that we stay with GTR Waste Service, since they were the cheapest on most fronts anyway, and then we determine whether we want to go to 1 day or 2 days, and we negotiate.
I second it.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please raise your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, council. Yeah, Beard, yes, he was a second. You were a yes, right, Councilman Beard?
He seconded.
Yes, sir. I was just.
Council was asking me. It's the only reason I'm asking. Thank you all. Thanks, everybody. At this.
One thing before you leave.
Yes, sir.
I do want to say that I heard from a few clients that, citizens, that when they empty the trash cans,
Yes, sir.
to make sure they pick up the trash that falls out of the garbage can.
Yes, sir.
If you can relay that to them.
Yes, sir.
I know if we got bins, that would help, but for the meantime, to make sure that they're picking up the trash.
Yes, sir. I will convey that. Mary Ann would have been here, but she had a funeral to attend in Tennessee,
Yeah.
so she couldn't. She's blowing my phone up as I'm doing it as y'all were talking, so she would have been here to answer any additional questions, but I will convey that to her, Councilman. Okay, yes, thank you. I will. Thank you.
Where is he going?
Maybe once we're done.
Where's Pickens going?
He went across the hall. I was looking, it looks like.
Well, we still got a quorum, so.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we need to adjourn this meeting and go into executive session.
So moved.